Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1974 to 1977). Welcome back, baseball fans, to another opening day in the 1974-77 Carryover League. Today we're in the National League. We got a series between the Philadelphia Phillies and Houston Astros from the Astrodome in Houston. Last year, catching up with these teams, Philadelphia just missed out at the end of the year. They literally were in first place. They had a 3-game series. It was a dog fight at the end between the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets. Came down to the Mets having to play the Phillies. The loser goes home, and the Phillies were the loser. Braves got the wild card. Mets got the division in a virtual tie, but that's how musical chairs end sometimes, folks. You're the guy left standing. Houston finished an honorable third in their division. They are in the middle of the 70s, which is not really kind to them, but they're playing decently. Got the third place ahead of the Padres, for instance. They'll be much better later in the decade. I think what happens is Don Wilson passes away at the end of 74, and that really scuttles their plans. It takes a while for J.R. Richard to develop. It takes a while before Joe Niekro shows up. Guys like Joe Sambito show up. You know, Terry Poole and others. And it's just sort of a mediocre squad. Let's show you Philadelphia and their off season. They didn't do too much. They swapped out second baseman with Boston, Doug Griffin for Denny Doyle. And not a whole lot of change other than just replacing cards for players they previously had. Houston got Enos Cabell into a nice card in a trade. They had Leon Roberts as a rookie. And as far as rotation goes, not a lot of change either, other than Joe Sambito is the Houston closer now. So now left-handed pitching is much better than what it once was. Today's starting pitchers for the Phillies, no surprise, it's Steve Carlton. Steve's on his 76 card, a 20-game winner, 3.13 ERA in 253 innings. Probably right in the middle of his heyday between the 27-win season in 72 and, of course, the 1980 Cy Young and World Championship. Right in the middle of kind of an ordinary part of his career. J.R. Richard for the Astros finally develops by 76. He wins 20 games with a 2.75 ERA in 291 innings. And he actually gets better and better until he tragically, in 1980, after having the best start of his career, suffers a stroke just past the All-Star break, and that would end his career, sadly. So more tragedy in Houston. Phillies and Astros, by the way, in 1980 also played one of the best National League Championship series in history. Look that one up, folks. Most competitive, a lot of extra inning games, and so forth. All right, let's get started today. We'll spin the tumblers, and leading off, kind of a surprise, is Tim McCarver. 67, a single one, a 13. He lines out on a 20. Tim's got like a 400 on-base percentage. That's why he leads off. Gary Maddox, 2.7, grounds a short. And Jay Johnstone, 57, is a walk. He's a beast stealer, believe it or not. Healy's a zero-run catcher. Schmidt will swing away. Left X, out in left field, it's Cruz. He's a 2.11. He makes the grab. All right, bottom of the first. It's Cedeno. 3.7 is a walk. Double-A stealer. Boone's catching. They have Boone catching and McCarver DHing. You get both the bats in the lineup. Cedeno doesn't care. He's going to try a steal anyway. And he's safe. He's at second base for number 2 hitter, Enos Cabell. 2.9. Let's take a look at this card for Enos Cabell. So the Orioles really didn't want him. They shipped him off to Atlanta in the Johnny Oates trade, and Atlanta didn't want him either. as he's not the type of, Atlanta likes a lot more power than this at first base. A unique Cabell card, first and third combo, good defense, and a double-A stealer at those positions as well, which is very odd. This is a full-time power card and might be the career high of 16 homers. I don't recall him, I didn't even think he went in double digits in his career, but 16 seems a lot. Full-time power. 2-9, homer 1 to 10, double the rest. We look up, it is gone. And what? Welcome to the Houston Astros, Enos Cabell. Double-A Steelers at the top. Batting third, Bob Watson, 5'11". Pitcher X, Carlton's an E0. Still have to roll road E0 pitchers. I don't roll home ones. Number 4 hitter, Doug Rader, 49. Single on a 13, he gets it. Jose Cruz, 1/7 the K. And with 2 outs, it's Tommy Helms, 43. Right X. Your right fielder today is Gary Thomason, a 3E16. Corner outfield defense is not the strength of the Phillies, though he makes the catch. Gary Maddox has a lot of room to roam when you got Luzinski, Thomason, and Johnstone on either side of him on most days. 2-0 Astros. It'll be Gary Thomason. 38. Single 13. He catches it. Beef Stealer. Zero arm Fran Healy. Yeah, he'll just stay put. Boone's not a B-hit runner, oddly enough. He used to be, or in the future he will be. He'll swing away. 68. You walked him. 2 on for Larry Boa. 58. K. Doug Griffin. 3-4. Fielder's choice. Runners on the corners, 2 outs for Talkin' Tony Muser. And Talkin' Tony with a base hit to right field off his card. That'll score a run. Griffin will not be thrown out to third base. Back up top to Tim McCarver. 1-9. Let's take a look at the card. You're probably wondering, why are you leading Tim McCarver off? Well, Tim McCarver just has a year, folks, in 77. And about 200 plate appearances. That's much more than pinch hitting. 320 with the extra base hits, the homers, the walks. He can catch, and they even had him play some first base just so they can play more with Bob Boone. They could play simultaneously. Now with a DH, you can have 3 people at first, catcher, and DH, including McCarver and Boone, with Tony Muser playing first base. So a great card for McCarver here. Also had a nice card in 76. This is much better. 1-9 is your single to center field. Now, Griffin could run here. Oh, he can fly. He's a 16, 17, 18. He's going to take on the -4 arm of Cedeno, which is a 14. And he does score. So that was a daring move. Not many people try Mr. Cedeno. Muser goes to third on the throw. There are runners on the corners. And a 2-2 tie with 2 outs. And it's Gary Maddox. 66, single on a 16. That is a base hit, and that does score the extra run when you went to third on the throw. First and second for Jay Johnstone. 3-7's a walk. Bases loaded. Phillies batting around. It's Mike Schmidt. Chance to blow this thing wide open. Here's the pitch to Schmitty. 2-4 is a fly ball to center field. 3-2. A lot of offense in the dome. It's Leon Roberts leading off. 34 short. Fran Healy, 1-6 is a walk. Bobby Heiss, 67 is a K. Back up top to Cedeno. 45 flies to right field. All right, we go to the third. It'll be Gary Thomason, who started last inning. 1-4, grounds a second. Bob Boone, 55. Second X. Helms, a 3-13. Makes the play. Was a 1. Was a 2. Now a 3. That's not the progression you want. Larry Boa, 49. Center. Bottom of the third. Cabell, homered earlier. 3-10. Flies left. Bob Watson, 2-11. Grounds a short. With 2 outs. It's Doug Rader. A 1-8 walk. Jose Cruz walks. 2 on, 2 outs for Tommy Helms. 62, he skies to center field. The Astros better against righties or lefties. I think they're better against righties. Cedeno's better against righties. Cruz is better, as is Helms. They have Fahey is very good on the bench. Wilbur Howard, and you get Metzger's glove in the lineup against righties. We go to the 4th. It'll be Doug Griffin. 55, second X. Helms again. Makes the play. Talkin, Tony Muser, 65. 111, base hit. Back up top to McCarver. 5'10, catcher's X. Your catcher, Fran Haley's a 3E9. It's a wild pitch. Runner in scoring position with 2 outs for Gary Maddox in his big year, 76. 6-6 is that single 1 to 16 again. Catches it, but the runner has to stop at third. On the corners, 2 outs. Have to hold Maddox. It's Jay Johnstone. 47, and Richard strikes him out. Richard struggling in 2 of the 4 innings. Keeps it close, 3-2. Bottom of the 4th. Leon Roberts, 53. Comebacker to the mound. Fran Healy, 37. Rounds short. And Bobby Heiss, 45. Fly to right. And Carlton has a 3 down inning for the first time. We go to the 5th. It's Michael Jack Schmidt, 1-9. It's okay. Gary Thomason, 1-7. Let's take a look at his card. A man without a team. Maybe a man without a position. A great prospect that was given a lot of runway to blossom. It never really blossomed. Though you can't argue with a guy who's hitting like 260, 300 at-bats. With, he's got power, he can walk, he's got good base stealer and can run. It's just, he's at the floor, and his floor doesn't get much better than this. But 1-7, homer 129, double the rest. He misses it. It's a double. Now you got Bob Boone, 310, flies left. And Boa, 56, walks. 2 on, 2 outs. Boy, Richard is really scuffling today. Doug Griffin, 55, second X. And here is our boy Helms makes the play and gets out of the 5th inning. And the Phillies have only scored 3 in this game. They put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on base. Only 3 have scored. It's just 3-2. Bottom of the 5th here in Houston. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Astros. Are they playoff material? Well, I think they've closed the gap between themselves and the Giants. Maybe not with the Dodgers. And I don't know really if the Padres are ever going to close any gaps with anybody. So, yeah. Here's the thing. Oftentimes, Houston has always surprised me as overachievers in the seasons I play. In other words, I play an Astro card set. I get good results even if they're not particularly good. I've had this team in the World Series a few times in the Jose Cruz, Terry Poole years in the late 70s, early 80s. That being said, I'm not doing the eyeball test here, and I'm thinking, something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Or maybe it's like this. I'm thinking that as well. Sometimes I just go, meh. So now, with that, let's go to the top of the Houston lineup with Cedeno. 2-9, flies to center. Cabell, 34, lines to second. Bob Watson, 44, short X, it's Boa, the good E rating, 1E12. We denied Larry Boa a 300 hitting card because he was an E29 shortstop with that card, and I said, nope. You go hit 300 someplace else. I want my 1E12 Larry Boa, and that's that. Now, I ain't taking 29 errors. You give the Phillies 29 errors, and they ain't going to the playoffs. I'm telling you that right now. So, yeah, you can take your 300 and stick it somewhere. So, let's go to the 6th now. And it's talking Tony Muser. 310, flies to right. Tim McCarver, 47, is a strikeout. Gary Maddox, 2-9, ground ball to short. And finally, J.R. Richard with a 3-up and 3-down inning. Finally, calming down. Tight game, 3-2. These are pitchers, longer they stay in there. I mean, you had your chance to knock both out. 2-run homer in the first, bat around in the second. And they're still standing. Bottom of the 6th, it's Doug Rader. 6-11, left X. John Stone's a 3E8 in the cavernous Astrodome. Can he see the ball? It gets lost in the rafters. He makes the catch, though. And some scaffolding and whatnot. Jose Cruz, 38. 1-9, base hit. Tommy Helms. Do you want to do a hit and run here? Not with 1 out. We'll swing away. 3-6, single 1-8. He catches a single. 2 on, 1 out for Leon Roberts. 68's a base hit to right field. You want to run? Cruz. 16 runner against the Thomason arm to tie the game. And now he's thrown out on a 19. Oh my goodness. Boy, Gary Thomason. We talked about him earlier and he said, oh, he heard what we said. You know he was listening. He said, I'm going to uncork one on you guys. Throws an absolute laser beam to Bob Boone, who puts the tag on Jose Cruz out at the plate trying to score. Helms goes to third on the throw. Runners in the corners. 2 outs now. And it'll be Fran Healy. 1-4. Let's take a look at Fran Healy. He's picking his team up nicely here. His new team. Kansas City could have... Well, it's hard to imagine why they wouldn't want this guy, but... I understand it. John Wathan is the reason, and John Wathan, it's 328. But still, they couldn't have both, apparently, because Healy, in over 500 plate appearances, is a very deceptive 252. Looks like 275 when you look at it. Ton of walks on the card. 9 homers, full-time power, B-stealer. Fran can move. He can steal some bases. 1-4 is a double to left field to tie the game. And now he's going to run Leon Roberts to take the lead. He's a 13, 14, 15, makes it a 14. And he scores! A 2-out, 2-run double off a lefty. And it is 4-3. Could have been 5-3. Now number 6 hitter, not number 9 hitter, Bobby Heiss. 6'10", catcher's X. This shouldn't score the run. Boone is a 2E4, I believe. Yeah, 2E4 catcher. And the inning ends. 4-3 Houston. They're going to put Roger Metzger at shortstop now with his oneness, as that is a defensive weapon they want to use. As we go to the 7th, Junior Richard taken off the hook for our defeat from earlier, but he's a starter 8. Oh boy. Yeah. He's going to continue. Jay Johnstone. 1-4 flies to center. Mike Schmidt, 63. Strike him out. And Gary Thomason, 6'10". Short X, and here's your new guy. Metzger's a 1E10. Better defense than Larry Boa. Hard to believe. Arguably the 2, and you got Concepcion's a 1E12 as well. So you got a 1E10 Metzger, and then Concepcion and Boa are 1E12s. My goodness, in the National League this year. All right, stretch time. Here in Houston, the strength of strings, we are enjoying the incredible No Other LP from Gene Clark, 1974. Former Bird, Life's Greatest Fool. What a brilliant record this is. Didn't sell a lot of copies, but it's a cult classic. Just a incredible record. Some misunderstanding. From a silver file zone here, Silver Raven. And then disc 2, they just have more versions, alternate versions of stuff, extra tracks. Disc 3, the same thing. Boy, this is just a wonderful piece of music. By Gene Clark. All right. Back to the game in the bottom of the 7th. Lefty, now down 4-3. He's a starter 8, as is Richard. They will continue. It is Cedeno. 65, rolls a second. Cabell, homered earlier, 48 walks. He's taking off that double-A action. He is safe. Boone's got a -2 arm, though. We'll stay at second for Watson. 57's a K with 2 outs. It's Doug Rader. 1-0 is a ground ball to second. We go to the 8th inning with Junior Richard out there. I think he's good to at least Griffin. Bob Boone leads off. 310, flies to left. Richard dominates righties, so there's nothing but righties on the Philly bench presently. They're waiting for them to bring in Sambito, I imagine. Larry Boa, 1-8, triple 1-9. Larry Boa, he catches a triple. That ping-pongs around the outfield. 10 triples for Boa in 1974. And I think Metzger led the league in triples. Houston shortstop. He only has 8 in 76, but in 74 he had a lot. Shame we don't have the 74 Metzger card. We just had too many guys in that year. Couldn't get it. Infield will come up for the B-bunter. Here's a pitch to Doug Griffin. 2-5 is a base hit through the drawn-up infield. Well, you were going to give up the run anyway, but now you give up the hit as well. We got a 4-4 tie. What a fun game this is turned out to be in Houston. Griffin is a good base runner, not a good base stealer. And you're running out of gas. J.R. Richards running on fumes. Tony Muser's not a very scary hitter. I'll pitch to Tony Muser. 49 flies to center. And with 2 outs, it's McCarver. Do you want to pitch to this guy? You're either pitching to this guy or the lefty's pitching to Greg Lazinski. You know, pick your poison. I think Richards is going to continue to attempt to chase a win. You're going to have to beat him with point of weakness. So he will face McCarver for the 5th time. Here's the pitch. 49 again is a fly ball to center field, and the inning's over. 4-4. Now lefty will continue. He's also chasing a win. Do you want to go to more defense? Jerry Martin go to the outfield. That's about it. And no, that will not be necessary. Okay. Bottom of the 8th. 4-4 tie. That'll be Jose Cruz. 5-12, pitcher B. You know, we are playing the, what do we call, the Hall of Fame level extra inning rule, where we just keep playing. We're not doing the runner at second. And I do that if I got a classic matchup or Hall of Famers. We know Carlton is. Richard's not, but we're going to just give Richard benefit of the doubt because he's a great pitcher. And Steve Carlton's a Mount Rushmore pitcher anyway. So we're going to have regular old extra innings today if it goes that far. Tommy Helms, 48 is a walk. Leon Roberts, 1-4 is a 6-4-3 double play. We go to the 9th. These guys can only go 9 innings as they are not starter 9s, which could continue into the 10th. It's Gary Maddox. 58's a strikeout. Jay Johnstone, 46, fly ball to right. And Mike Schmidt, 410, center X, center fielder. It's a Daniel, 1 in center field. I mentioned earlier the 1980 National League Championship Series. You're seeing something like it right here, folks. Just drama from the dome. 4-4, bottom of the 9th. Lefty's going to have to deal from the bottom of the lineup. It's Fran Healy. 2-7's a K. I got Roger Metzger's first at bat of the day. 46, another strikeout. And we go back up top to Cedeno, trying to walk the thing off with 2 outs. 1-7 Cedeno! Homer, 1-6, and he can't get it. It's a double. Oh, this big ballpark, it just contains too many homer drives. There was a time where the Astros only hit like 40 or 48 homers for an entire 162-game season. It's just impossible to hit homers at home. Homer 1-6, double the rest. Cedeno's at second. You got Cabell with a base open, and Bob Watson's better than Cabell. So you'll pitch to Enos Cabell here, who homered his first time up. Here's the pitch to Enos Cabell. 2-7, just misses an 8, 9, and 10, which would have won the game. He pops to third. Bonus baseball here in Houston, and we're going to go right to at least the Houston closer, the new Houston closer, Joe Sambito, will make his presence known here. Relief 3, and he's not going anywhere. 1977, he emerges with a 2.33 ERA in 89 innings and a 5-5 record. He will pitch 10th, 11th, and 12th if necessary. No reason to get him out of there. And the Phillies will get some rumblings from their bench. Thomason usually comes out, Muser would come out, and I guess either McCarver or Johnstone would come out. But right now, Gary Thomason will leave. And let's go Jerry Martin. I like to... Yeah, we'll go Jerry Martin instead of Luzinski. I like to save the better pinch hitter for later in the inning in case they go to a righty. Martin can't hit righties at all. You take a look at his card. So let's get him in there when we know he's facing a lefty to start the inning. With plenty of extra base hits and homers on this card. Jerry Martin, pinch hitting and to play right field with same defense. Here's the pitch to Jerry Martin. 5-11, second X, and this is Mr. Helms again. Makes the play. Is this the first extra inning opening day game? I'm not sure about that. All right. Now you got Bob Boone. Bob Boone, 59, grounds to second. And with 2 outs, it's Larry Boa. 2-11, flies to right field. Bottom of the 10th, Carlton has to go. He has been starter 9 sometimes in his career. Not now. Do you want to stay lefty since you've been doing pretty well and just continue to run this thing with McGraw? Or you got righty. Do you want to get a tougher righty in there and have McGraw come in when you have, if you get a lead? Let's go to Gene Garber. Gene Garber will come in as a righty. Normally the road team, as a disadvantage, doesn't go to the closer. The home team usually does. So Garber in a tie will take the mound. Gene Garber had a 2.06 ERA in 1974 with the Phillies after being traded there from Kansas City, where they asked him to do a little bit too much. He was a relief starter with Kansas City. Didn't really work out. It worked out well for Philadelphia and later the Atlanta Braves for Gene Garber. Bob Watson leads off in bottom of the 9th. On the Houston bench, you still have Bill Fahey, a left-handed hitting catcher, and Wilbur Howard. Watson leads off. 55, second X. Griffin, very good. A 2.16 at second base. Makes the play. Now you got Doug Rader. Plenty of power for Doug. 1-9 is single 1 to 18. He gets a base hit. Decent base runner. He's an 11. And now you got Jose Cruz and then Tommy Helms and Roberts. We'll pitch to Jose Cruz. 4-4 Jose Cruz off the Garber card. Triple 1 to 15 to win the game. It's over. Gene Garber's card. He surrenders the triple to the lefty. What are you going to do? Let's see. Everything else are singles and walks. On the right side, it's homer 1 double. On the right side, it's triple double on 5. So he's actually doesn't give up any extra base hits on his card against lefties. Except that one right there. My goodness. Tough loss for Gene Garber and company. And a big opening day victory for your Houston Astros. Had an early lead, lost it, came back and tied it. Fun game, lost that lead. Back and forth affair. So Joe Sambito collects the victory and Gene Garber the defeat in a 5-4 Astro win on opening day. We'll have the results of the rest of this series. Should be a classic, so stick around. All right, folks, here's the box score of the game you just saw. The Astros winning 5-4 in extra innings. So Sambito gets the win with a scoreless 10th inning, and Garber 2 hits in the run. 9 innings, 9 hits for Richard with 4 runs and 4 walks and 6 Ks. Carlton wasn't that particularly sharp either. 7 hits, 4 runs, and 6 walks and 5 strikeouts, putting 13 men on base. Do the Phillies have an answer in game number 2 of the series? Pat Dobson versus Larry Dierker in this one. The Astros seem to have something going with their offense this year, folks. There's an interesting wrinkle about that. I'll get it into the next game. But right now, in the first inning, a Fahey single, Rader single, Cruz walk. Yeah, 3-run, 2-out double by Cabell, the new addition, and it's 3-zip. But the Phillies get some thunder in the top of the 3rd. A single, RBI double, and a 2-run single by Johnstone is tied at 3. Bottom of the inning, though, Fahey triples, Watson drives him in 4-3. 5th inning, single, 2-base error. Gary Thomason leads to 3 runs in that frame. It's a 7-3 game. We go to the 9th inning. They ask, just Mike Wallace and Forsch to close this thing out, and it gets scary in the ninth. A single walk. There's a 3-run homer by McCarver to turn a 7-3 game into a 7-6 game. So Zambito has to come in and try and get the final out. He walked Tony Taylor, and then he gets Mike Schmidt to fly out to end a thrilling finish to a game that seemed to be in the Astros' pocket. They had to hold on for dear life and got a 7-6 win thanks to their new closer, Joe Zambito. All right, let's go to Philadelphia for Game 3. And the sounds of Philadelphia in the background of this one. Dave Roberts versus Larry Christensen. What we notice about the Astros against the righty is they don't have a left-handed hitter with power on this team. Oh my goodness. That's right. Bill Fahey, Jose Cruz, Wilbur Howard, Roger Metzger. None of them can hit a homer off the pitcher's card, folks. It could be a long year for the Stros. If you want to flaunt that, you're welcome to. Dave Roberts, Larry Christensen in this one. Astros, early foot again. Cedeno leads the game off with a home run. Third inning, a single stolen base Cedeno, RBI double Raider, RBI single Cruz. And then Cruz gets cut down stealing to end the inning. So it's 3-0. Bottom of the inning, Schmidt triples. There's a sac fly, an error, and Luzinski 2-run homer. We're tied at 3. Astros retake the lead. Single, double, sac fly, Roger Metzger, 4-3. But in the 5th inning, Schmitty with a solo homer. Maddox singles, steals a base, and Luzinski with another 2-run homer. So Luzinski and Schmidt went triple homer, with Schmidt leading off and Luzinski batting cleanup. That might be how these cats roll all year. Keep them spread apart, So that's a 6-4 lead. Mike Schmidt in the 7th, solo shot. 3 for 3, 2 homers and a triple. It's a 7-4 game, but in the 9th, Tug McGraw makes it interesting on his own. After a strikeout, a single, a fielder's choice, a 2-run single, and a foul out to end the game, and Philadelphia wins 7-6. So the home cooking for the first 3 games. Game number 4. This is going to be a curious game because you have Joe Decker traded to Houston in the offseason for Andy Hassler, who was traded to them from California. Hassler ends up on the Twins in a 3-team deal. Against Bill Bonham, curious case of the Phils took a Cub pitcher that the Cubs didn't want. Why would the Phils want him? Well, the Phils used the eyeball test and said he was on a lousy Cubs team. He actually looks pretty good in 74 at least, and we think he can pitch better than his stats indicate. So, interesting number 4 starter battle. A starter 6 Decker, starter 7 Bonham. Again, Houston early foot. Cedeno singles. Watson singles, RBI single, Fahey wins it. Top of the 2nd. Howard and Metzger singles. A Cedeno walk, a sac fly Helms, RBI single Cruz. 3-0 Astros had the lead in every game. But once again, the Phillies, just like the last game, tied up with a 2-run homer by Gary Thomason. Another Luzinski homer to tie this thing at 3. It stays 3-3 into the 7th when the teams decide to dip their toes into the swimming pool of the bullpen. Max Scarce comes in, gives up a single to Cruz, and then an RBI double by Bill Fahey, another RBI double by Cabell. Those are the only 2 runs in the remainder of this game. After that, Scarce and Garber settle down, and no more runs score. Decker's pulled after 6. Ken Forsch pitches an inning and a 3rd. And then Mike Wallace gets the last 2 outs of the 8th inning with punch outs. So they turn this thing over to Joe Zambito, who seems to be, once he appears, good things happen. And again, you have a Jerry Martin double in the 9th. That's all the Phillies could do. Zambito gets the save. Joe Decker pitched long enough to collect the victory, and Max Garcia takes the defeat with that 7th inning. The Astros win the game 5-3 and win the series 3-1. Let's take a look at some stats here. The Phillies, starting the year 1-3, hitting .285 but a .509 ERA. So you have Garber and Scarsay, two relievers, lost games, and Tug McGraw was not sharp at all, even though he got a save. That doesn't bode well for a team that doesn't really boast really good starting pitching. After Carlton, you got Dobson, Christensen, and Bill Bonham. So Philadelphia has a pretty beatable pitching staff, it looks like. That might not bode well in this division. Let's take a look at the Astros, the new look Stros. 3-1, they're hitting .315. The Go-Go Stros with a .450 run average. And Joe Sambito has a win and 2 saves in 4 games. 2 1/3 scoreless innings. Only a couple home runs, Cabell and Cedeno. As expected. More stolen bases than 3 stolen bases so far than they have home runs. Break up Houston Astros. They take care of the Phillies 3-1 to start the season. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.